Welcome to Whiskey Mountains. I'm Adriana, and today I'm finally getting around to doing this video that I should have done like a year ago. So about a year ago, ADHD Whiskey, Matt Porter, did this list of bottles kind of in response to like a Reddit thread about like 5 bottles that everybody should own. So he kind of made his own variation and nominated some channels, and I was one of those channels. But clearly I took my sweet time about it. I did some hikes for it, lost some footage, and here we are. So it's been long enough. Let's get to it. So for the first category, it's how we're getting started. So I think I interpreted this a little bit differently than he did. I think he kind of meant it as like getting the party really going, whereas I kind of took it as just like how I get started with drinking in general. So I kind of covered this in a backpacking trip that I did. So here's a couple of clips from that to tell you about my pick for this. A tried and true, absolute fave, must have, Knob Creek. Also, I found this adorable little bottle when I was in Vegas, and I was pretty excited. And I smell like bug spray, which smells terrible. Knob Creek is actually almost always my first pour of the night, especially if I'm going to be trying anything new later, because it's kind of my balance, you know, for the scientists. It's like a control kind of thing. It's a variable that I know I'm super familiar with. So if my palate is going to be weird that night and off that night, which I feel like is fairly common for all of us, you know, there's just some nights where something we normally love is just not quite hitting us the same. Which is just to say, I love Knob Creek, and it's my go-to. It's my fave. It's, you know, it's like a comfort food kind of thing. Thank you, Hammock Me, for that perfect segue. Let's go on to our second category. Let's get the plant. So, for our next category, it is your current favorite. And this one doesn't take long for me to try and figure out. I don't have to go digging through my whiskeys. I know exactly which one is my current favorite. And that is the Knob Creek 12 Castrian. This stuff is so good. This one right here is the 124.3 proof. There's also a 120.5 proof, so only half a proof higher than the normal, the normal single barrel that's 120. But honestly, they're both like really truly are that much better than just like a normal single barrel. Just the perfect balance of the oakiness, like that oakiness is really brought out, but without being too drying or anything. Amazing proof, delivers that punch of flavor that you want, but to me it's just quintessential bourbon. It's so good. They normally run about 90 to 120 bucks. The cheapest I've heard of is 90, but mine I think were more like 120. So, they're truly, I think they're truly worth it, and just good job, Jim Beam, good job. So that's my favorite whiskey. This is not my favorite hike. It has been super steep and just post-holing into the snow, almost up to my knees. I know I'm short, but it's still annoying. So, let's move on to the next category. So for the next 2 categories, we're actually indoors. Sorry, call me lazy, but did I mention lost footage? And I don't know, it's been freaking winter in Utah, okay? But the third category is a little known bottle that makes you feel cool. And I took this a little more literally. This is something I enjoy because right now it's starting to warm up. And so this can be very refreshing. And that is the High West Old Fashioned that is barrel finished. So this is 86 proof, and it's so good. They basically made the whole Old Fashioned, the bitters and the simple syrup or sugar, however they do it, and used some of their rye whiskey and finished it in barrels. I don't know how long. So, but it's so good. You just, and again, I don't know, it's just nice. You can be super lazy, put an ice cube in a glass and enjoy it. It's super refreshing. I love it. So good. So for the fourth category, it's your epic bottle, your like one to impress people. I mean, there's certainly some bottles that we buy more just so that I can review it, and then hopefully we enjoy it kind of thing. So, but I guess if somebody were coming over to look and I don't know, what might I put out to impress them, it might be this. So we have the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof by Buffalo Trace, of course. We have E.H. Taylor small batch, single barrel, and barrel proof. I haven't seen any of like the fancier ones, like Lot C or something, warehouse, whatever it's called. But this one is 127.3 proof. Personally, for me, the EHTs are a bit too sweet, a bit too strong of that bubblegum profile. But this is actually one of my husband's favorites. So this is much more his stuff than mine. But I guess this would be my impress my guest bottle. I can't say that I have much fancier than this. I know. Okay, so now for the last category, and this is actually one I filmed like a year ago. So finally get to show that to y'all. Okay, so the last category, and pretty much what everybody's waiting for on all of these videos, is the long pour. So what would I do for the long pour? Well, I would pick something a lot of you rye lovers enjoy. Sazerac rye. This is the baby Saz or whatever. I don't even know what proof it is. It doesn't really freaking matter. And I would, of course, pour it off a mountain. And then, now that you have successfully long poured your Sazerac rye off a mountain, you can enjoy pouring it the fuck out, because Sazerac is just moldy horse poop. Fight me. Thanks ADHD Whiskey for nominating me to do this insane list in an insane way. Well, maybe that's my fault. But put in the comments below, if you're not ADHD Whiskey, I already know his, but what you would do for these 5. So, which would you pick? Salud. I need better whiskey in this glass.